Parents, back to school is upon us, and this can be one of the hardest times to get kids to sit still, chill out, and do their homework. I know this. I have two elementary school kids this year, and we've already had trouble getting them to do that, to be able to focus, to be able to learn. And I know different kids have different struggles with this, and they're all unique. And so I wanted to record this video because oftentimes as a parent, we've tried absolutely everything. We've tried the wobble boards, we've tried the fidget spinners, we've tried everything, getting them to move around and take movement breaks and do different things to learning to get them to have better focus and attention. And to be honest, if you tried everything and it's still not working, as a parent, you're left feeling like you just want to pull your hair out. I have been there. So what I want to go through today is a short little explanation of what the brain's role is with this so that we can help our kids to better unpack and better understand why they might be struggling, and then give you some answers of what to look for, of really how to help them and to just make this easier. So when we dive in with kids and we dive in with the brain has a specific role in focus and learning. And I want to pull up a slide right here because there's different areas in the brain that do different things. When we think about a 6-year-old that is struggling to sit still, we don't often think of the brain having an on-off switch. But in honesty, it is. And it's actually called the limbic system. And so we look at that limbic system, and it's in this area in that middle brain. The limbic system really looks at what's coming into it and where to direct the traffic. So if there's more stress, if there's more protective mode, if there's more I'm hyperactive, I'm anxious, everything's going crazy, and that's coming in, it's gonna direct it more to areas that are more our fight or flight or protective responses. On the contrast, if things are relaxed, if the input coming in is really easy and calm, then it's gonna direct it to this cerebral cortex, to the outer areas, to the focus areas, specifically for learning, to the hippocampus. That's the area that focus on situational awareness, memory, learning, focus, all those cool things that we want our kids to do when they're, working on that memory verse, when they're working on that spelling test, when they're doing that math homework, those things. But if there's not a really good filtering system, that limbic system's getting bad energy to it, it's not gonna know what to do or where to send that info. And when it gets to the prefrontal cortex, that's really what plays that central role in cognitive functions, attention, control, just helping the body sit still and really engage socially in all those different things. So when we look at these different brain function, we have to say, okay, what can be overfueling that limbic system that's going to take it out of that focus zone? And to be honest, as a pediatric chiropractor, there's really one area, and the short answer to this is the stress comes from our environment. It comes either physical, it comes from the emotional side of it, it can come from even from the environment and the foods and the diet and the things that we eat or consume. All these things get wound up and they cause our kids to get stuck. Now, we see it most come from either an emotionally stressful pregnancy or a difficult physical birth process, honestly, with kids that gets their body, their nervous system more wound up and then overfuels their brain. And so when we look at that in a body standpoint, this is one of our scans that we use in our office called the EMG. It simply looks at where stress, tension, energy is held. And when we look at this, and there's a lot of energy in here in this neck region, in these shoulder regions, all of that is noise that's going up into the brain. If that brain's getting too much noise, that limbic system simply not wanting to filter it to that upper cerebral cortex to help kiddos focus and calm. It's gonna send it down, it's gonna stay in protection, it's gonna say, okay, you've gotta move, okay, you've gotta be hyper, okay, you shouldn't really focus on this, you should be focusing on everything else around you because you're more in a protective state. I love this quote below. The function of the nervous system is to perceive what's going on around us, right? In our environment. If we feel like we're in fight or flight all day, if kids have symptoms like anxiety, anger, fear, they want to move all the time, they're perceiving that from their body, that's flooding their brain. Their brain can't coordinate it up here enough, and then the behavior, the noise out is going to come out as such. So if your kiddos are struggling to focus, to have attention, to be able to really spend the time they need to learn that spelling list or learn through those math problems, what we really need to look at is the perception. Look at what's going into the brain, because if there's too much going into the brain, it's going to flood that limbic system and that hippocampus is going to turn off. I know you probably never heard that word. Sounds like hippopotamus. When I was a dad, that's exactly how I felt. I was like, so what switch in the brain can we turn off or on? Here's the cool thing, is there are ways to take care of the noise that's coming in your kid's brain. It's what we work on every single day in our office when we work with kids in a pediatric chiropractic office at PWC. We help the body be able to calm that perception, to be able to better coordinate and then work through those behaviors. So if we can really help the body with the signaling of this, a lot of times everything that you've tried at home are the right things and they're going to help, but we've got to help with the signaling first. And so that's really what we do and why I wanted to talk through this, because I know it can just be plain frustrating, pull your hair out if your kid's not sitting still for homework or for schoolwork. But we want to help you through that. We want to unpack your unique case. We want to unpack your unique kids' way they learn, because to be honest, everyone's different. But if there's too much energy, there's too much on that perception side, and that's flooding the brain, the signals aren't going to get to the right place, and they're not going to be able to sit still and focus as easy as they can.